joining me right now is Kanishk Seth, who's been, in the industry for quite a while now, been doing some great stuff where music is concerned, and is taking on a very exciting project that we're going to see on our screens very soon. Hi, Kanishk, how are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you, Alia?
Doing very, very well. So, Kanishk, let's get into it. First, tell us what you've been up to all this while. You seem like a very busy man.
Yeah, firstly, I just got married, so I was busy with all the, wedding festivities. So that just
Mhm.
took like a couple of months from my schedule.
Yeah,
But otherwise, I've been working on a bunch of projects. Actually, last year was quite a lot for me. I released two EPs, bunch of singles, and I had a sync also for the film Jug Jug Jio.
yeah.
Rangi Sari happened again. And around that time, I was also like collaborating with like different artists. So I think this year you would see a lot of collaboration.
Nice.
And
Okay.
I'm releasing a single soon with Universal Music,
Mm-hmm.
probably next month, I guess. But majorly, I was working on this film called
Right.
Gulmohar,
Mm-hmm.
and as a music supervisor, which was like a new task for me. So
Yeah.
that took like a lot of time last year because I was working with Sid Khosla, who's the music composer of the film. And since he was sitting in LA, I was here, and I was like the mediator between the director and the music director. So yeah, that was like a lot of work, to be very
Mm-hmm.
honest. But yeah, that's what's been up.
Yeah, no, I really want to actually get into the new project that you just spoke about. What was it like assuming the role of music supervisor after being just like an independent artist yourself for so long, and then being a part of such a huge project, because it takes like, I don't think people realize it, but at least today, the way that video projects are done, movies, TV shows, etc., it actually takes like a village to put together an entire
Absolutely.
score, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think this whole conversation started in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I was completing my master's actually
Right.
from Berkeley College of Music, Valencia. So the director of the film, Rahul, he reached out to me, and we had worked before this project. I think in 2019 we were working. My mother had composed ghazals of A Suitable Boy, which came on
Yeah.
Netflix and also was produced by BBC. So
Yeah.
I basically then Rahul was the music supervisor for that project,
Yeah.
and I was basically just involved as because I was just very enthusiastic just to know what's happening, and I was like very honored to meet Meera ma'am, who had directed the entire project. So Rahul and I stayed in touch. I basically mix mastered the entire songs
Mm-hmm.
for that album. So Rahul and I just stayed in touch. I was the one, he was the point of contact for me to send, like basically sending all the stuff. So Rahul and I stayed in touch. And then Rahul was directing a film.
Mm-hmm.
Rahul had mentioned that, I'm doing this film, and knowing you, knowing your sensibilities and the kind of work that you've done, would you be interested in like doing a project like this, where we have like a couple of songs, and one song is almost like a ghazal slash geet, very, very old vibe to it. And,
Yeah.
he also wanted my mother to sing a couple of songs in the film. And and when he told me that Sid Khosla is doing the music, I was like, just I'm reading the script, but like, just count me in. I'm
Can't
just
mean,
doing this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I read the script. It's a beautiful, it was a beautiful script, and my job as a music supervisor was not majorly to get syncs on board for this project.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look for different artists, and I was looking for different artists, but not to just take a song and sync it for the film. My
Right.
job was more as be like this mediator between the director and the music composer,
Mm-hmm.
because it was he lives in LA and he works out from LA, but we needed talent from here, from
Mm-hmm.
Mumbai, from India majorly,
Mm-hmm.
and majorly Mumbai only because we were recording all of our stuff here. So I basically came in picture, and like I got on board Shaili ji, who has
Mm-hmm.
written songs for the film, and I recommended bunch of other people, even like for singers, chorus. So I was as I was doing all of this, I also was kind of, since I have the studio, I was like, guys, like Rahul, let's just like, don't worry, I'll record singers at my place. So I unknowingly started producing music for Sid,
Yeah.
and I was engineering for him. Like basically, I took care of everything, all majorly all the instruments that had to be recorded here. So I was also then Sid was like, you're already doing so much. Why don't you take the role of music producer?
Yeah.
For this. Like,
Yeah.
okay, fine. I wouldn't mind that. I mean, it's wonderful working with the director, and so that's how things just came, like it was a very collaborative process right from the
Mm.
beginning. And Shelly ji and like my mother, everyone gave their own bits,
Yeah.
for songs. So everyone was like, everyone was giving their inputs, like,
Yeah.
this can be done, this can be done. So I mean, it was a very fun project to go about actually.
Yeah, no, it
So
sounds like a lot of fun and it sounds like a lot of collaboration, which is also what I did want to sort of talk to you about because, I think for a lot of independent artists, when you start out, you kind of feel like a one-person project, right? Like you're doing everything for yourself and for your work to get out there. And then when it comes to actually working on a project of this scale, you have to collaborate with a lot of people, like you said, and that becomes one of the things that also inspires more creativity, inspires better work. But also at the same time, you can get used to just working with yourself and for yourself. So, given that you've probably been on both sides of that story, what did you learn from your time as music supervisor? Were there things that you're going to take from that experience when you do your independent work as well now?
right. So I think my biggest learning from just supervising was, um, there were moments,
Yeah.
because I was also the music producer. I've also been the music editor for this project. Like
Mm-hmm.
once the entire BGM was done from Sid's end, I
Right.
had to basically sit with the director and the editor and edit everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I was basically with them throughout. But like before all of that, it was more about, like when to kind of stop
Mm-hmm.
suggesting things to, everybody, and
Yeah.
like just realizing till when you can actually, give your inputs.
Mm.
So that was like my learning from the whole process. But
Yeah.
I, and something that I've realized while doing this, job, it's actually a very fun project, but also very taxing,
Mm.
like because you have to be involved with the project like before, like during like the whole script stage,
Yeah.
and and you have to kind of build like a nice sonic palette,
Mm-hmm.
and not just for the songs but also for the BGM. And it's very important to kind of sit with the director a lot, and just
Yeah.
more than getting attached with the film, getting attached with the director's vision is much more important. And that's what I'm realizing a lot, because I mean, I'm kind of getting more into this whole scene of music supervision. I don't
Yeah.
know if I would be doing it more, but
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun
Yeah.
doing this thing for Rahul,
Mm-hmm.
because Rahul actually, it was really helpful for me also, because Rahul, he himself has a good knack when it comes
Mm.
to music. He knows what he wants,
Yeah.
so it helps everybody else also around working for him to
Yeah.
okay, the kind of things. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, and also I think it's interesting because the role of a music supervisor, I think it was Ankur Tiwari one time was talking about how it's fairly new to the Indian landscape of music
It's, it is.
making, right? Like, and also as a role, I think whether you're in India or any other country, it is kind of new in terms of what exactly is the job description there. And it turns out that it's a little bit of everything, like you said, because it just sort of, you end up having to participate in every,
Yeah. I think
step.
you have to. I
Yeah,
mean, it's not just about, just like saying, like giving out adjectives to music
yeah,
composers, producers. Like you have to be in the studio. You
yeah,
have to be, with different artists, and, kind of give them a certain vision. Because it's basically the director and like the supervisor, they have to be on the same page. And more than, and once one they're on the same page, the supervisor has to like give more actually
Hmm.
to the whosoever person, actually the musician who's being called, the singer, or we recorded Chennai Orchestra, Sunshine
Wow.
Orchestra for this project. So that was like a new experience for me. I'd
Yeah.
never recorded like an orchestra, even for my personal project. So just to record something, and figuring out a remote session so that we could send the entire thing to LA. I mean, that was all possible, but like still, it was a lot of work going to Chennai, collaborating with Murthy sir, who was working with A.R. Rahman for 3 decades
Yeah.
as his main orchestrator. So I mean, it was like a lot of new things for me, like right from working to the most senior artist to a very new artist. Like
Mm.
we have Utsavi Jha, who was been releasing indie music, and now she features in the film also. So
Yeah.
it was quite an experience for me, right from collaborating with my mother to Talat Aziz, who's a ghazal veteran artist, and working with Shelly Ji, with different Sid Khosla, the man himself. So
Yeah.
it was quite an experience.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I also, it's interesting. This just sort of came to my mind. I think even when we had when Kala came out, right, recently,
Right. Yeah.
I think old Geet like film music is sort of making a comeback in terms of its sound,
Uh,
but that must
right.
also require so much research because it's not the music of our time, at least
Right.
as we were growing up. I think for you, you're probably lucky because you do have the rooting in that with with your mom and
Yes.
everything, but it still
And
does take a lot of
I think that was, I think so. I'm not too sure, but I think that might be one of the reasons why Rahul
okay.
uh must have decided like to probably have me on board, because
Yeah.
I do have the sensibilities of uh classical music, old Hindi film music, and very contemporary music as well, because I mean, I've been releasing electronic music, but I'm
Yeah.
also kind of doing different sorts of genres as well.
Yeah.
So I think it did kind of work out for all of us.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, like just music albums, like how you've just mentioned Kala, and people are, rooting for good melodies, and they
Yes,
really
for sure.
do
Yeah. Yeah.
more than, I think, that phase of like overly produced music. eh, I think it's kind of
It's like
fading.
weaning off, I think. I think it's
Yeah,
also
very
people
slowly,
probably,
very
yeah,
slowly.
very slowly.
Because
Yeah.
people are kind of, they want good stories and they want good
Yeah.
melodies, especially in India. I mean, that's where this whole music and film scene is there a lot.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about this film is that, like just like Kala also,
Hmm.
this film doesn't feel like, you've forced songs into the film. It doesn't feel like, okay, we have songs just to promote the film. The
Yeah.
songs are there because they have a
A part
very
to play. Yeah.
yeah, they are a part of the film, very much
Yeah.
part of the film. They almost feel like a score. Uh,
Yeah.
Rahul, in that sense, I mean, full credit to him. How he's beautifully placed different things, and yeah, I mean, that's all I can say about
Yeah,
it.
no, it's very exciting, and I think it's exciting also because you sort of it encourages people to accept the fact that music of that time, or
Yeah,
that came very naturally, like film music, Geet music of that time, it came really naturally, and it can work, in today's context also. It's not
yeah,
something
yeah.
it's not like novel, it's something that is,
Yeah, I mean, once you'll actually watch the film, you'll get to know
yeah.
also why the first song that we have is
Huh.
जो भी गीत, जो भी गजल है, वो
Hmm.
क्यों है? पहले
Hmm.
पहले I shouldn't be saying a lot, but like why is the song like this, and
Huh.
why the other songs, placed? So they come in very naturally, and like वो बहुत अच्छी चीज है इस film की.
No, and I also do want to talk to you. I think we can end the conversation on this. When we're talking about releasing stuff on the OTT space, we're talking about indie music being such a big part of that entire ecosystem now, with sync
Yeah.
placements and just, again, music supervisors reaching out to independent artists, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And indie artists finding a lot of opportunity in that space.
Absolutely.
What was your sort of experience? I mean, one, you've already had a placement, in a song, I mean, in a movie before. Now you're working directly as music supervisor, and this is Disney Hotstar Plus. It's a huge name. So what was your experience with what is the kind of involvement or collaboration that's required, between the music team and sort of even if there is any with the OTT team, and how important is that?
So usually, I mean, what happens with with any film per se,
Mm-hmm.
the director or the production house is basically in touch with the music team. So majorly it's
Yeah.
just the director. And it also depends from, a project to project, and also from every production house.
Yeah.
Everybody deals differently.
Yeah.
Luckily, I worked with a very sensible and a very sound director who was involved in also when we were like recording every instrument. So
Mm-hmm.
usually yeah, film directors don't really come in for a music session, or like when you're recording a guitar or a flute or anything else, they come in probably at the end of when you have a song ready. So directors don't usually come for such sessions, but Rahul used to come for every session. I mean, when we were recording flute, when we were recording every percussion, even for the orchestral recording, both Rahul and I went to Chennai and discussed everything with the orchestrator, how we want, look, this is the melody that Sid has composed. How can we, beautifully get this melody? So it was really great. So I mean,
Wow.
in that terms, I was very lucky that there was like not there were not like too many voices or too many opinions,
Mm-hmm.
because usually when you have like a very big project, or not just a big project, like there are times, when like there are multiple people who are giving their opinions.
No, I think it's a very exciting time for indie musicians, and I think that it's going to be again interesting to see how OTT actually starts helping with a lot more actively. I think now it's
Yeah.
still about the production houses, the director, the filmmakers, all of them sort of
Yeah.
identifying who they want to bring in. So yeah, I was just saying that it's going to be really interesting to see if the actual players in the OTT teams are going to get involved in independent music. But I just want to thank you so much for joining us, and also for talking to us about the role of a music supervisor. I think this is as in-depth as it gets when it comes to really being a part of the music team and holding all of it together.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alia.